Right, hello everyone. Obviously, as you can see, we're not on a game site. We are in the Love Media Group studio. This is where we're going to be doing all of our sit-down videos from now on. We are getting our own sign in the background, so that will change eventually. But yeah, welcome to 2026. This was actually supposed to be a 2-minute long video. However, it's turned into about a 3-month fiasco of trying to get this fixed. Basically, on screen, I'll show you a couple of clips of what happened. So basically what has happened is the Glock has stopped cycling. Now, we found out after getting back to the office that it was a couple of things that had happened. The first thing that contributed to it was the air pressure. Obviously, being HPA, we were running this over 8 bar. Now, for those of you that don't know, green gas, which is what this is supposed to run on, runs at about 8 bar. I'll put all the different pressures and conversions on screen for those of you that run different measurements. But essentially, it was pressure. We were running it over 8 bar. I think we were running it at almost 9.5 bar. It was quite heavy pressure for that Glock. So with the pressure being so high, and we also had another contributing factor, which was the magazines. Now, we do have 2 different types of magazines. We have one magazine, which is magazine 4, that came with the Glock. That is for the Glock 19 Gen 5. Now, the other 3 that we have, magazines 1, 2, and 3, are all third-party magazines. However, they are for a Glock 17 Gen 4. So they are for a completely different Glock. However, they do fit and they do work pretty much the same. There are very slight differences, like the slide lock back doesn't fully work at times, and there's a couple of little design features on the 17 mags and the 19. But obviously running different magazines for a different pistol in another pistol didn't help that cause either. And then on top of that, them 2 contributing factors then made the third contributing factor, which then made it obvious of there was a massive problem, was the outer barrel. Now, the outer barrel, if I flip it round, you shall see that there is a part missing, just here. Basically, with the high pressure and the magazine, that made this part snap. Now, this happened on the 17th of November last year. So obviously this was quite late into the year. This was the last game we ever played of 2025. So from that date, we also had another problem with a magazine, but I'll explain that in another video, possibly. We'll see. But basically what happened is, with all of them contributing factors, this then snapped, which then made our pistol pretty much useless. So after getting back to the office, we then found out that this had snapped, because obviously we didn't know on the day. We then went straight onto every site we could possibly imagine. Every single Airsoft parts website that we could find, we went looking for a standard black threaded Glock 19 Gen 5 outer barrel. Now, this should have taken about 10 minutes and then 2 or 3 days to get here. We didn't get this repaired until, I think, early January. So obviously, as we're filming this, it's the 15th of January. So it's obviously early January, so it's taken us over two months roughly to get this all fixed. But yes, so in the end we did get it fully functioning. It is fully working. We do have a couple of clips of it being fixed. Unfortunately, they're not the greatest clips because it was shot on the phone. But yeah, we were running this when testing, we were running it with 2 5s at around 8 bar. I think it was just under 8 bar. 8 bar, for those of you that don't know, is the standard for green gas, which is what this is supposed to run on. And we were running about, I think it's 217 feet per second, so 217 feet per second. Obviously, I'll put on screen what the actual reading was. We are allowed to go up to 315 with our weight classification, but obviously with such a short barrel, you can't really get above what we got. So, I mean, it is what it is. We could run higher pressure, but obviously we don't want to run the risk of breaking it again. So, yeah, thankfully, all of this is now fixed. The Glock will now be pushed back into service and come, I believe March time is one of our first game days of the year, so we'll be taking all the rest of January off, and February, March, April time should be when we're back at it. We'll definitely be back at Apocalypse Airsoft for this April. We are there every year for our Yukara renewal, and just because it's where we started, we like to go back every year just to reminisce in the old days when we started out Airsoft before we started to go wider and further afield. Thankfully, everything is now fixed, everything is now working and tested. But yeah, I'm sure this won't get any views, but we just wanted to give you guys a couple of updates and have a couple of filler videos between obviously the holidays and the next sort of game days. So thank you guys so much for watching this video. Very much appreciate it. Obviously we'll be back round about March time with some more game footage. But yeah, other than that, I thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you on the field.